Welcome to the 2040 Vision, hosted by Helena and Jason, where fresh perspective meets hard-earned wisdom, because growth is clear when you see it from both sides.
Hello, and welcome back to the 2040 Vision. Another new look from the last new look. We're kind of pumping things out and trying new things. So we're trying a remote cast because obviously life's our lives. We're very, very, very busy people, and this may work out a lot easier. Let us pump out more episodes than we were able to before, which is great. I'm at my house. Lena's at her house. We're here. We're doing the thing. So, how's life been in the last month or so?
Been really good. I've been really cracking down on what I did this year and what I want my next year to look like. And I think that's where we wanted our episode to go, in that direction. But that's my reality. I'm really looking at like how far I've come. I've looked back on some of the things that I've said during the podcast and how I'm trying to see. I'm like looking back at it thinking, okay, did I reach that goal? Did I get there? Maybe I didn't get there 100% or like most of the things that I said, but I'm working towards it, and that's kind of what makes it so special. Starting it was more just like, oh, let's just start it, see where it goes, put out some goals, put out some inspirations, and honestly, I can say that I am finally proud of myself this year because I've been working towards everything that I've said. And so, how's life been? I've just been working on that actually.
I love that. And it's kind of like a little bit of the same on my side. And there's been some ups and there's been some challenges which are really really good. Especially on the work side of things. Things like things that take turns and you don't really expect them. And we're gonna go over a lot today because we're kind of gonna recap a little bit of everything we spoke about, and the general theme of this one is going to be like holidays, the final boss, and we're going to talk about why this time is kind of like where it's going to challenge every one of the steps we've spoken about along the way. But I'm really happy with the year behind us. It's been a weird one. There's been a lot of little changes, and then towards the end here, there's some stuff that I'll discuss on the next episode because I don't want to, you said it before, you don't want to speak too much, you want to make your moves in silence, but um there's some other things coming. Now you might be wondering, why does this idiot have a pink mustache? So we'll get that one out of the way right off the bat, because like even just seeing myself on the screen, it's like it's glaring, and it's I see it. So obviously every year, one of the big initiatives that I do, another reason why it's tougher to record in November, is I'm stuck doing my steps and all of my things that I promised for Movember. So I raise money for men's health, mental health. The mental health side is a little bit closer to me than some of the other ones, but obviously men's cancers, prostate cancer, that are a big part of the movement. And every year I dedicate the month to walking 60 kilometers and raising some funds for that. So this year the initial goal was $1,000. So that was my main goal, which I still owe. I've been trying to learn some like basic TikTok dances, but anyway, so I owe a TikTok dance to the world. So I've been learning some steps here and there. I think I'm gonna do like a Dougie. So we're gonna see how that works out. And then obviously the ultimate goal was, if we could double my main goal, I would dye my mustache the color of social media's choosing, and they chose pink.
I
Uh,
chose blue. I think I
you
chose
were
blue.
on
Or
blue or green. One of you was on green. One of the girls was on green. One was on blue.
I was on
See
blue,
that
I
I should have
think.
known by making
Were you
pink
on
an
green?
option that
I was green. Oh, Barbara was
Barbara was
green.
green. So
Barbara's
there you
with me
go.
here,
There
yes.
you go. Barbara's in the background. As per the usual, Barbara's around. Um, I should have known, letting the vote go to social media, that I mean, a big part of my social media is my softball team, and my softball team is black and pink. So I should have kind of known putting any kind of vote out there that pink was going to be overwhelmingly. Year one that I do this, let me tell you, bleaching a mustache, no bueno. I sat bleach on my face for 20 minutes, thought my skin was going to fall off. That's for starters, and I had to do it twice because it didn't bleed like all the way the first time. I'll send you guys a. Did I send you? I haven't sent. And this is the first time you see it. I didn't even send
This is
pictures.
the first time. Yeah, this
Oh, am I
is.
just
Did you
hard?
did you post it on your social
I
media?
haven't because I recorded video of the whole process and I have to edit the video and I'm gonna post it as a reel. So we'll see which one comes out first, this video or that video. Oh, this is just like
When
straight
did
hard
you
launching the stash.
when did you
I did
uh
it on Saturday.
okay, very recent
Yeah,
then.
it's only a few days ago. Yeah, I did it
Okay,
on
cool.
Saturday because this weekend is we'll get to it, but this weekend is our only free week, or the last weekend that just passed was the only free weekend before the holidays. So we have plans every day for every weekend all the way through till point. So I was like, well, I don't know what the process is. So we went over to Walmart, we bought the stuff. We bought a different cut. We bought like a very gentle bleach to try. And it's like a bleach for um women that have like they don't want to wax, but they have like a little
Oh,
darker
okay.
whiskers type thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jade. So they put this, it's something with a J. I keep forgetting the name, but they put that on and it like kind of lightens the whiskers to where they're very, not very visible. So we tried that and it was way too, it didn't even burn when we put it on, so I knew this is not going to lighten the hair enough. Um I have like very dark, very coarse hair, so okay. And then we bought, I wrote it down. We bought A2B. I
No
used to
idea. I
use back in the
don't
day
know.
when I had hair. I used to use Got to Be Glued, which was gel, which is probably the reason I have no more hair. So they had like these eccentric colors. So I bought that box, and in that box there was bleach, goes on blue and burns devil. And so I put that on, that in the shower, so I wouldn't get bleach anywhere with like towels around my neck and everything for like 20-25 minutes to the point where like the kids couldn't even walk into the bathroom. They would like just the smell would overwhelm them and they would run out and I'm sitting here like, so we did that and then I came out looking like Hulk Hogan, the stash, not the muscles. And it was very, 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 very blonde. So that was like, oh man, this is really, and as you can see, this came out electric pink. So we Felicia helped me do that. And at first when we I'll send you guys you'll see all the pictures if you follow on social medias. It looked like, I compare it to, when like little girls, or I guess try and put lipstick on for the first time and
Oh,
don't get it on the
okay.
lips. It's just like smeared and like thick. That's what it looked like on the mustache. It looked like I had just taken a marker and like too thick put it on, and I was like, oh my god, like is this gonna stay like that? Because all the skin around was all
It was
stained.
all pink.
It was
No,
all
it
pink.
comes off. Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't trust that it would come off. So my very intelligent, um, not, I took nail polish remover and Q-tips and I started scrubbing. I started scrubbing the nail polish remover on my face.
So here, I'll give you a little pro tip because I used to when I dye my hair darker, I also dye my eyebrows. Um,
Dye your eye.
baby oil,
Oh, you dye your. That's.
baby oil
You dye the eyebrows to match,
to match my dark hair. Yeah, that way I don't have
but
to
you
wear
never
more
done like a
makeup.
color. So you never had to like bleach, right?
I've never had to. Lies. I used one time I got like blonde, like caramel blonde, streaks in my hair, but I think I love my hair darker that I'll never go blonde, so I'll never have to my hair.
Interesting.
I don't know how that like what that feeling would be because it was only the streaks, and I don't remember it burning. But yeah,
Interesting.
And I
it
dye my
burns.
eyebrows so that I can save money on, like, eyebrow pencils and, like, filling in, which also goes really well in this podcast on
Uh,
how to save money.
there you go. We're budget friendly all around. You don't want a pencil, just dye. So so that was it. So I actually like I don't even know. You see like it looks pink, but it's not actually pink. It's I burnt my lip with the nail
Oh,
polish remover.
okay.
It's become like a sore because it was really bad on the lip. Like I had a huge blotch, and I'm like, I'm not going out like this. Like a toothbrush with the acid essentially, you know, scrubbing my lip, and then like I was like, oh, it all came off, fantastic. And then like 2 hours later, I was like, man, my lip really hurts, and I couldn't. Here we are, here we are. So that's the story of this. So we raised $2,000, which I'm really happy. I'm really proud of. I think that's a really cool achievement. And now that I know the process and I know how painful it's going to be next year, the price is going to go up. But it's okay. Yeah, the price is definitely going up, but that's okay. We'll do it for charity. And the worst part is I do have to go to work like this. But I did forewarn, so anybody who's going to be doing this kind of wild thing, if you work in a corporate environment, could be a little dicey. I did forewarn the bosses, and nothing was said. I said, "Hey, by the way, they announced that I was raising money because somebody saw one of my reels on LinkedIn. I was like, by the way, we reached the ultimate goal, which means I'm dyeing this mustache pink, and I gave it 3 days, and nobody said anything. So I rolled with that and said, okay, must be okay, and it provides a good amount of relief to a comic relief to the office. So I'll walk around and people just randomly look at me and burst out laughing, and um, not very good for my self confidence, but I'm happy they can have a laugh, and it brings joy to the faces. The day after I did this, we went shopping to Costco. I have never had so many kids interested in me. All the little babies and everything, they were like wanting to grab the mustache, and it was fun. So we set that aside and we move on. Topic of the show is not going to be a pink mustache. It's going to be how the holidays are the ultimate final boss. So we're going to kind of run through. We can remember I have, but we're going to kind of run through all of the growth topics that we've kind of covered a little bit and how that's going to come into play during the next month in 20 days during these holidays. Because what do we do in the holidays? We get you know, people tend to sometimes get into their emotions, and they try and reconnect with old flames or reconnect with old friends. And
Cuffing season.
cuffing season, is that okay? Okay, explain
Well,
cuff.
you said it
Okay,
gets
explain
cold.
cuffing
People want to.
season. I'm too old for this. Explain cuffing season.
It's it just reminded me because you're like, oh, it's getting cold. People try to like explore past flames and whatever. It's cuffing season. That's what people want to
Like
do. It's getting cold. They want a buddy to like snuggle up with, watch movies, do their thing.
like a Netflix and chill thing.
Sure.
Cuffing as in handcuff.
No, as
Like cuffing
in
someone not down, like handcuffing them
yes.
down, kind of. So it must be.
Well,
I'm too old for this. You're making my age. You're making me show my age here. I'm gonna Google it.
dictionary.
Cuffing season meaning. Ooh, love this. The cold autumn and winter months seen as a period when it's especially desirable to enter into a romantic relationship.
Exactly.
Cuffing season, ladies. Okay. So we're in cuffing season, and if you're so apt to easily give away the handcuffs, then or easily put them on, I guess, then then this might be a little bit for you, a little reality check, little put the phone down, don't call him, don't call her. Don't do it. You come a long way. You worked hard at it. Or call her. You weighed out the pros and cons, or call him. Whatever. Maybe you weighed out pros and cons, and it's all good. So let's go
True.
back through the episodes, and I think we'll just like rehash the episode ish. We'll try and keep it a lot shorter. Obviously, we're not going to do 9 hours of this episode for the
Hmm.
episodes we've done, but we'll kind of look at the topic and then we'll kind of rehash it and be like, hey, what we think is coming our way for the holiday season in that topic, goods, bads, avoids, don't avoids, and how to kind of prepare for the next year. Habits was one of the first ones. So the first episodes we kind of did like a bit of a talking thing. We went over what does growth really mean. Um, that's going. You know what? Actually, setting goals that align with your values and priorities. So we're going into the time of year where it's end of year, and then obviously what a lot of people like to do. I don't
New
really
year,
like,
new
but
me.
the resolution, right? Like the new
Yeah.
year, new me, blah 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 blah. What I would like, from episode 1 is sit down, align your goals with your values, align your priorities, and we talked about that. What do we truly believe in? What do we truly want to accomplish? What does the next year of your life look like? And that's something that we did when we started this podcast. You were just talking about it, right? All the things I don't remember if it was on air or off air, but we were talking about all the things that you had like planned when we first started this and seeing all that come to fruition. So do you remember
Hmm.
like looking at self introspecting for the first time, or for the first time in this environment? Do you remember that phase 8, 9 months ago?
Yeah, I remember. I remember specifically because I was talking with my friends, and we always ask like around this time of year, like, okay, what are you looking forward into the new year and things like that. So I remember specifically saying like I want a budget and I want to set aside 40% of my income into a savings account for a home, whatever. And that too, we spoke a little bit about when it came to what budgeting is versus just willy nilly savings. And I took that into account and I started putting numbers to that. And did I reach my goal 100%? No, but very close. And I'm very, very, very happy. I remember also one of them was becoming more consistent at the gym, which I have been, and I've been seeing the changes, and I've been seeing the number on the scale going up, which was my goal. My goal was to gain weight, good weight, and I've struggled with it, but now I've come to a point where I no longer struggle. I've hit a kind of a point where I won't go below it anymore, and I'm like I'm freaking out. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's aging. I don't know what it is, but it's helping me.
Hey, sometimes it's not about how you get there, it's about the fact that you gave it a shot and you got there, right?
Yep.
So super important, you set yourself some goals, you set your line. It wasn't a new year new me thing, because we didn't do
Mm-mm.
this at New Year's fairly. I think we started talking about it around that time, but we didn't like really start this until a little bit of time after. It's
I
not a
think it was March,
resolution.
April.
Yeah, something like that. It's not a
Because
resolution.
if I go back into like my little books of notes that I have that I've been taking, I really, really started hitting the goals that I wanted to around March and April, which is probably when we started this podcast, which is really interesting because I think I really took everything super seriously once I started talking talking it out.
Putting it out into the universe kind of gives you an accountability factor too, right? Writing
Yeah.
things down gives you an accountability factor. So it's not a New Year's resolution. It's not a new year, new me thing. It's actually like real introspection, real what do we want out of this life, year, month? What do we want out of this task? What do we want out of this endeavor? What do we want for ourselves personally? What do we want as a family? What are our end goals? What do I future want for potential family, love interest? We never got to the love episodes and stuff like that, and we'll see if we get into those ones. But like, it all kind of keeps revolving around that same introspect, figuring out your values, prioritizing the things that are going to get you to where you want to be, and that's going to start now into the new year. It's a great time to like refresh, rethink, um, and set like the next year ahead, which we will financially. You know, we're gonna sit down. You know me, I love a good budget meeting. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna have a yearly budget meeting. We're gonna go over the last year, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But like really doing the refresh on the values and all of that, but not like, oh, new year, new me, 2026 is going to be this. No, I want this out of life. How do I use 2026 to get there? And
Exactly.
then you kind of set your goals, and you can reset and be like, hey, did some of these things change in 2025? Which for me, it did. There was a lot of change when it came to values, friendships, and stuff.
Hmm.
And I think for you as well, and we've talked about it on some of the episodes. So like, you know, you look back and you go, okay, everything I said I wanted to accomplish 6 months ago, a year ago, what has changed in my value set? What has changed in my priorities? What's changed in my situation? Did my job change? Did my income change? Did I get pregnant? Did I start a family faster than I wanted to? Did I break up? Did I find new love? Like all these things are big life changes. Did I get married? They change your value. They change how you're going to have to look at things. You're looking at things maybe a little bit more still as a single woman with an attachment, with a love attachment where it's growing and potentially becoming a little bit more, but you're not looking at it as a family person. Whereas I can't even imagine thinking of, yeah, there's some things that are just me, like my career and stuff. But when I think budget, when I think, holidays, when I think life goals and all that, they include four people: myself, my wife, my two kids at all times.
Hmm.
So very important to to reevaluate the stage of life you're in, and to see if there's any big things that are going to redirect your value set, your priorities, or where you have to put your energy.
Well, even just you talking about budgeting for the family and taking into consideration like schooling and activities for the kids, like maybe is going to want to do this and then Irene's going to want to do that and like all these things. So actually, when thinking about it, like you said, it's not new year, new me. It's I want to reach this goal. How is 2026 going to help me get there? I've been doing that and I've been working towards that goal. Like, for me right now, it's get a house, get married. So it's kind of like budgeting to have those big events like come about. But I was also talking with my boyfriend and I was telling him like, yes, these are very important things, but also I want to come to a point like start saving for even before the kids come, start saving for college fees and like school fees and like this and that. And I'm like, we have to take all of that into consideration and then like start like different little savings accounts, like everywhere. Like this is for that. This is for when our car breaks down. This is for like all these things. And I never thought of it like that before, but this podcast in specific has actually, and hearing it coming from you, like who has a family who's seen it all before, like it actually made me it's helped me look into that and be like, okay, life is more than just saving up for a vacation. Like we need to save up so that we can keep the ball rolling. Like no matter what, it's raining, perfect, we got it. Like
And think of
keep
how
it
much,
pushing.
like, you don't even, I mean, you realize it in a way, but now you're articulating it again. How much outside of just finance, how much other stuff had to be thought about in terms of values, priorities. So what I heard in there is I want marriage, I want children, I want there's that's massive like undertakings. That's huge life decisions and priorities and values that we're talking about. So it's like, oh man, it's always about saving. Well, no, we just went through your entire life, A to Z, what you want to do. Now, how do you financially hold that? That's budgeting, that's finance stuff. But how do you stay true to that in terms of like, when people come your way and, paths deviating and career changes and all that? It's important, but you've set your ground values. For you, it's family, clearly.
Hmm.
It's secure love, it's house, it's children. So you know the direction you're going in, and now you're looking at it from your value and you're setting your priorities. So it's not new year, new me. It's how do I now use the year to get to the me I want to be? And
Hmm.
that's how I would suggest most people do it, I think. And it's really cool that this podcast helped. And just to put it out there, I get bothered several times now, and I like pushed to redo this episode and stuff like that because people have been pushing, being like, you need to continue because we love the information you're giving out. And I'm not, it's like, I'm not saying that Elena and I have invented this wheel. We're just telling a story, but it's actually helping a lot of people, and I think that's kind of cool. So that was our first episode. That was growth. As far as how did we, how do we determine it, or how do we determine, but how do we describe it? How do we say what growth is, and what it means for us? Identify it as well. The episode after that, we started talking about our habits. So we look at, and I kind of have the list of what things are in, so I'm going to kind of like bounce it out and bounce it to you, and then we'll just bounce it back and forth off each other. But habits, we talked about habit formation and how to, how to break bad habits and how to get through things. If we go through like the very quick example, which I think came up a few times, was the alarm clock habit, right? Of
The snooze
the,
button.
the snooze button, and guilty. I would say for the last month, that snooze button has become our best friend. Um, we're going through like a phase where we're trying to get Evan to sleep by himself, and my poor wife has been having to sleep in his bed for the longest time, and so now we're finally breaking that, where he's going to be sleeping by himself, and that in tune with the time change where it's like dark at 5 o'clock. I don't know, man, but like 5:30 a.m.
It's
rings. Oh
heavy.
my, like 5:30 a.m. alarm clock rings, and I'm like, meh, fuck no,
I
and I and
know,
I and
but
I and I mute that, right? So
even just like me today, an example at work, I finish at 5, it's 4 o'clock, and I'm falling asleep, and I'm like, I don't understand. It's 4 p.m. Why am I falling asleep as if it's 10 p.m.? Like
it's
it takes a
it's a
toll. It
huge
definitely takes a
change for where
toll.
we live, and
Hmm.
and that's not going to be a lot of people's realities. Like it's, the whole amount of daylight in the day and stuff is not the same everywhere in the world. But for us, I could tell you that it's like dark, getting dark just after 4 o'clock. It's a tough one. You go into work semi in the dark, get up in the morning, it's pitch black. You leave, it's pitch black, and then as you go to work, it like becomes light outside. You go into work, you come out, and it's like you're not seeing any light. Whereas, in the mid of summer, you're seeing like 30 some days. So it's tough. It's been tough. So the habit thing, and then we talked about some unique habits between the 20s and the 40s. But if we look at the holidays season, the what's coming up for many, many people who celebrate, what, when we talk about habits, what's going to challenge our habits at this time of year? What do you think? I'll put one out to start it. What happens at this time of year is you're going to go into indulgence mode. Going to have a habit of, and that's going to be for me personally, is like, you're going into holiday indulgence mode. You have a habit of eating a certain way, fasting. I continue to fast until noon every day, and I do that. And we're going to go on to holidays. We're going to take vacation days from work. So we'll be waking up a little bit later. The kids are off, everybody's off. But now everybody's home, and now I'm in a house full of people that are going to want pancakes and eggs and blah 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 for breakfast. Friends have already begun to reach out. Let's go do brunch. Let's go do.
Hmm.
So, that's one habit that I've formed, that right off the bat I'm looking at the holidays and I'm going, "Oh, okay, here comes the test. How do
And
we
that
avoid, or how do we not overindulge and all of that?" But you have to be cognizant of, here comes the test, especially for me when it comes to the food thing. Here comes the test, right?
right. Another one
Gym
would
gym
be
and stuff for
that,
you, maybe?
yeah, well, that's for me, is that busy schedules, especially with the holidays. Um, I just like you, for the last like 2, 3 months, I swear every weekend we've had something. And I think that's just adulting, and being in a relationship is always having something to do on the weekends. Not even our things, other people inviting us to do things. And so keeping up with a busy schedule, especially around the holidays, and still keeping up with your fitness goals, waking up, going to the gym after work if you've snoozed too much, which I've had to do, and then regretting it because the gym is a zoo at that point, but still pushing it and keep going as a punishment more because I snoozed the alarm
Yep.
like in the morning.
Yeah. You snooze, you
Um
lose.
exactly. But I have to admit that I've been going to the gym more in the fall winter time more than I have at previous years. So I still like kept that going. I know I'm going tomorrow morning, so there's that. Um so yeah, even though you have a really busy schedule, just try to just try to prioritize your habits before everybody else's time and things. Yes, okay, it's okay to miss a session or two, like okay, you got to live your life too. It's the holidays, it's a bit of an exception, but all in all, keep the habit in mind because if you let go too much, jumping back on the wagon is going to be so much harder than if you just kind of kept it kind of going even a little bit inconsistently. And like if you cut it off completely cold turkey and then jump back on, it's like free starting from ground zero.
Yeah. Super well said. The month that will our schedules will swing back and forth the most in this month. The amount of outings, the amount of hangout requests, the amount of food you're going to eat, the amount of restaurants you're going to go to, all of this stuff increases, and all of these habits you've built throughout the year are going to be tested. And it's about, again, let's go back one step, the values that you have for yourself and the priorities you're going to want. Remember what the values were that set those habits to begin with. Remember how you prioritize those habits and move in that direction. Trust yourself, trust your gut, and know that we'll talk about later, but it's okay to say no. So know that, saying no for the good of your habit is good. Saying yes and bending on your habit a little bit too could be a growth opportunity as well. So it's not always about saying no. Which is good because it brings us right into our next episode that we had been talking about, which was reframing our perspectives. The difference between fixed and growth mindset. This is like, it's funny to go over them now, right? Because it's like, man, I'm like getting glimpses of the conversation we had back
Me
then,
too.
but it was such a little while ago. And the first like six we all recorded, like we recorded them all in the same day type thing. So that was like, these six
A
were like
long time
many,
ago.
many moons ago.
Yeah.
So
Before summer,
oh
easily.
yeah, for sure, 100%. Yeah, because we built the episodes out in January, and then
Every 2 weeks we were putting
like
them out. So
February we had
yeah,
recorded the first six or something, and we kind of like mass put them out at once.
true.
Which is probably the way we should go again, is just like get together and then like record five and then put them out and then record another 5 3 weeks later or
I
something.
say
So yeah,
let's just record all 24 of them.
let's go. Let's go. So reframing the perspective, shifting negative thought patterns, the fixed versus growth mindset. I am lucky too. I think that was one that you liked a lot because you're more on the spiritual mind and all of that kind of that kind of thing. So um gratitude, self-awareness, taking some time in the holiday. Hey, sometimes it's, hey, gratitude, I did everything I did for the year. I'm giving myself a few days of leeway here, and I'm self-aware that I need this break. Maybe you need more than a few days. Understand how that's going to impact you and be like, I'm in a position where I can do this. How lucky am I to be able to do this? Or saying no to friends and be like, how lucky am I that I can say no to friends because I have the option to say no and still, have those values and work on myself. So fixing um or reframing our perspective and our
My
mindset. Do
perspective.
you have anything on
Yeah,
that?
I do. So I'm always going to compare the titles and kind of like what I remember our conversation
Mm-hmm.
being to kind of where I'm at right now. Um, it's funny because I think in this episode, I'm pretty sure I said something that like I'm a little afraid to kind of change career paths and like I know I don't know if I'm a lifer. So I had this conversation with some friends at work. It's like, are you a lifer? Meaning like, do you think you're going to be here all your life? And then we were kind of like pinpointing people and saying, I think that person's a lifer. I think that person. And I really thought about it and no one really pointed at me and said anything. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, I'm not a lifer. Cause I was getting so angry. I'm like, I'm not a lifer. I know I'm not a lifer. And I was in this episode, I'm pretty sure I said, I'm a little bit afraid to kind of change career because what if it doesn't, something else doesn't really work out the way this is kind of working out for me, whatever. And like here and now, it's just so funny because I'm like, I'm not a lifer and I am working towards looking for other things. So that's kind of
Crazy,
where I'm
right?
at.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
You didn't identify yourself as that, and then 6, 7, 8 months later, you're reframing your perspective, you're reevaluating your values, your goals, and you're kind of looking towards, and now time to sit and go, okay, how do I achieve whatever it is you're looking for? How do I achieve that in 2026? How do I sit down and how do I start today and get there? In 6 months from now, am I going to say, hey, cool. I didn't think a year ago I was a lifer and now I've doubled my income and I'm doing something I love even more type thing. Whatever.
Hmm.
I've reduced my income, but I'm doing something I love even more. It's always about income. But whatever your goal is, you reframe it. That's super cool. That's a super cool retrospect that you're able. And you know what's funny or what's great? I did this in the car the other day. I went back and I listened to one of our episodes, like an older episode. Just be like, what was I saying 6 months ago? What did I say? And the kids love hearing our podcast. Like, hey, Daddy, is that your podcast? Yeah, that's my podcast. So, because all I do is listen to podcasts in the car. So, it's interesting to go back and see or hear what we were talking about 6 months ago.
Hmm.
We then moved on. It's kind of funny because you're not seeing the list, so you're like it's like a surprise bag for you as well.
Yeah, but as soon as you say the title, I swear I just they just come to me. I'm like, oh, I think
Do
I
you
said this, because I'm kind of still on the same path as when we were recording these. Like the same things kind of pop up in my brain, except I've tweaked them a little bit. So like now I'm like, okay, yeah, but moving on now.
so we did what does growth really mean? We did habits. We did reframing our perspective. Do you remember what we went into next? We
If
went
we went,
into
wasn't it fitness? There was one with fitness, but
nope,
I don't know if it was the
nope.
third or fourth.
The next two, I think this was like the first five that we recorded all in one shot and we put out. So these were like our baseline stuff, right? The next one was mastering
Okay.
productivity. And we
Okay.
talked about like time is money, time blocking versus list making, finding the right system for you. But this was like really getting into the nitty gritty of like, okay, I want to go to the gym every day. I want to track my success. How do I track that success? And using those tools, managing distractions in the age of social media, the importance of staying productive, and also the importance of rest while staying productive. And then we were talking about some tools and some apps that we were using to track.
I still
Uh,
use Shifter.
there it is. You see what I'm saying? So it's like a big one for you was Shifter when we were talking about that. So I mean, if we look at it in terms of this final boss moment, productivity. Well, what's the number one killer of productivity or doing any of that is a completely changing schedule. Is everybody okay? So in my case, is going to be everybody off. So what I was working for, towards in productivity. Well, my day is going to look way 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 different. How do I combat that? How do I go about getting all the things we want done? And for me, it's very simple. It's a shared calendar for productivity. It's putting everything, and we were saying we don't have a weekend off. Well, I know that because everything is in the calendar. So all of our things we want to do, if there's some of Felicia's friends, if there's some kids friends that want to do, if there's whatever, we plug that into the calendar, and then I can sit down and go, okay, tonight I'm 7 o'clock. I'm recording a podcast. Boom. I'm doing that. So my number one tool for productivity, and it's free. is Google Calendar. We created an email for the family, and we all put everybody's calendar into this one calendar. So for us, it's obviously a time stealer. Is with all of this schedule changing, how do we continue? How do I continue to be uh striving for those things? And obviously, the social media thing. What about for you, other than
And
Shifter?
other than Shifter, which is just for my shifts, um, mastering productivity. So I kind of, which is funny because going back to the spiritual things, it was I saw a video the other day and it said something like um your bad habits are like the reason you have certain bad habits is because you're meant for more and you're kind of like like something's trying to stop you from getting like to that higher self. So one of them was procrastination, and it's kind of like if you're procrastinating it's because something's blocking you from like stopping you from becoming your higher self. So as soon as I feel like myself procrastinating, like doom scrolling when I know I need to get something done, I jump out from wherever I'm doing and then I start becoming productive. Like let's say it was um starting a LinkedIn profile. I was like, no, I'm not going to go into my game. I'm going to start my LinkedIn profile right now. I go through like a video midway through. I don't care what they're saying. I stop. I'm like, no, I have to prepare all my things for tomorrow because I know tomorrow I have a busy day and I don't want to get it done in the morning, things like that. So I've been trying to put a hold on my procrastination because that's my biggest uh my biggest problem is I love to procrastinate. I do it all the time. But I've been putting a hold on that and just being like, no, get this done and then you can doom scroll. You can do whatever you want afterwards.
I'm trying to remember, and it's not in this episode, but I'm trying to remember. We talked about procrastination. I don't remember the episode, and maybe it'll come up as we go through. Talked about procrastination and what one of the stems of procrastination was or could potentially be, and one of the big ones was fear. We spoke about being afraid to take that next step, and this happened to me recently. I think it's really good to talk about. So this happened to me recently, where a management position at work opened up, and it wasn't quite exactly the timing that I expected. And there's been like a lot of like hardships recently at work, and they announced that this management position opened up, and my mind space was not good, and I procrastinated on applying for the position and eventually missed the application deadline because I was kind of afraid to be told no. I didn't think I could handle a no, so that fear set in, and that's that procrastination to fear thing. It was the fear to succeed, but also the fear to fail. And even for somebody like myself, who's I very much had trained that out of me a lot. I'm not afraid to fail. I'll start a million things and fail. I don't really care. It crept in, and this is within the last 3 weeks. It crept in, and I caught myself the other day. And I was like, man, why? Why didn't I just go for it? Like the worst they can say is you're not ready, you're not a fit. And then that also allows me to reconsider and realign. Okay, well, if I'm not a fit for that here, maybe I need to either learn some new things or figure out what it is I need to go towards. Do I really believe I'm not a good fit in that, and I can reevaluate things. And so to the counter of that story happened really, really quickly because in the meantime, um, another management position within the same our same team is now opened up because somebody is going to be moving. And that happened like really, really quickly, unexpectedly. That person applied somewhere else, got the job. So now there's another team lead building role that applied. And it was announced to the team this morning. And literally 5 minutes after that meeting happened, I walked into my director's office. I shut the door, said, I want that job. So I didn't procrastinate like I did the first time. They asked me why. I think I I should have the job or whatever. Obviously, it's going to become a much bigger conversation. I was also halfway out the door. Okay, multiple things here. I'm halfway out the door. I went to see him. I'm like, hey, by the way, I gotta go. My son's sick. I'm leaving. I also want the management job. And B, try and take me seriously with a pink mustache while having this conversation. So he's like, this is gonna be another conversation. I'm like, absolutely. But I just need you to know, and I just took it upon myself right then and there. I'm walking in that door and I'm telling you, I want this job. And he did ask me a few questions of like, why this, why that. And I gave him a breakdown right then and there. And I was like, this is why I'm good at it. This is what I do. This is all the things I do here. Boom, 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 boom. I fired them off real quick. So I got over that fear of the rejection and the failure, or even the fear of like, oh my God, if I do get the job, then I have that job and I got to be the one who's going to be. So procrastination versus fear. Don't let that fear creep in and allow you to procrastinate to get out of that feeling where you're where you're afraid to succeed or you're afraid to fail. Don't
I also
procrastinate
heard
to do
this
that.
one thing. If you knew that it would take 40, like if you knew that you would be shut down 40 times before you reached what you wanted to reach, how fast would you want to be told no?
39 seconds, 39 times, 1 second per time.
Yeah.
In 40 seconds, I want that 40th time right off the bat.
Yeah.
It's that's a really, really good one. And I'll put it into our perspective in podcasting for us. Because I was listening to another podcast. Somebody was saying that his podcast didn't take off. It's a very, very successful podcast now. It's been going on for I think it's 12 or 13 years.
Wow.
And their podcast didn't really gain traction until their 160th episode. And they were saying, had we not made 159 episodes with no traction, we would have never made the one that made us what we are today. And you're like, my
Exactly.
Lord. Like, how powerful is that saying? Like, just if I didn't fail, and it's not fail, if I didn't build 159 times before that, if I didn't strike the hammer 159 times before that,
You would have
I
never
would have never hit the
gotten.
nail on the head. I would have
Yep.
never of got to where I'm going. And procrastination is going to kill that. And procrastination is very easy to fall into when it comes to fear.
And fear. Fear is a liar.
Oh, absolute devil, that fear. Man, this is fun. This is a really cool, like, this is like also our year in review, I guess, right? Too. The next episode we walked into was Clutter-Free Living, the Art of Organization. I don't think the titles match what I have here, by the way. I think these were like our first version titles.
Okay.
It's very possible that the title of the episode changed. And then halfway through, I also started changing the way we were doing titles. I started making them a little bit more
And then I think we
clickbaity.
started like swapping, like, okay, we're gonna do that one.
Yeah, there was swaps and stuff. But this I know we did. But it was Art of Organization. So we were talking about being organized, how clutter and like first to say, and I'll update this a little bit. This is like a work in progress, but we were talking about how clutter impacts mental health and productivity. We were talking about minimalism versus functional, finding a balance in there. You know, it's great to have nothing in your room, but if you go to write a letter with no pen, you're never going to write the letter. So, you know, it's like minimal versus functional, organizing spaces differently, apartments, family homes, yada, yada, yada. You have you know, a nice big bedroom, which is almost like a bachelorette apartment for you. So it's like, you know, how do you organize your space? We talked about that. How you place, like, you know, where your makeup goes, where these goes, your feng shui came up in this conversation. And then systems that we use to, you know, keep organizing our lives, which I said one already, which came into productivity, but for me it was calendar. But staying organized, striking that balance, clutter free, let's talk about it in the sense of this final boss. What's going to happen during this month that could possibly um, hinder your clutter freeness, hinder your minimalism versus functionality, finding a balance on staying organized? Is there something? Is there something we think in this month, upcoming month, that's going to possibly?
Well, yeah, like you said, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to see you. You're going to want to, wrap it up, wrap the entire year up with so many people, right? Like friends are going to want to get together, family's going to want to get together. Um, and a lot of, life has like unexpected pop-ups as well. So, time management can definitely be hindered in this month, especially. Um, and the organization of the budget.
Love the budget. We're gonna become a budget podcast pretty soon. I can almost tell. I'll throw one. I'll throw one out there that's not the organization of the budget and that affects me. So, one thing that happens over the next month, and we are blessed, but all you people, you one of them included, are going to be buying hundreds of gifts for my children.
Mm,
And if you want to know what clutter looks like, go to a
it's true.
house.
Oh, okay.
Go to a house with children post Christmas that celebrate Christmas and that receive a lot. Let me tell you, I already I already started walking around in the basement here going, okay, I think we need to donate half of what we have already. Like I think we need to
I was
donate
just gonna
half.
say, I'm like, you need to start a new garage sale.
So that's where this clutter comes from, and we'll talk about that in a sec. I think we need to donate half of what my children have right now because it's going to get replaced. And if I don't, if it doesn't leave,
Yeah, you're just gonna have a
it's going to
whole.
be interesting. So that's it's the final boss of organization. If you have children, you know what's coming, and you're to blame as well. Like we're going to put some gifts under the tree as well, and we're going to add another new set for Play-Doh or whatever it is. I'm giving an example. If they can hear me now, that's not actually your gift, but like you're going to add another new Play-Doh set top of the 15 they already have that are dried up and unused for the last 9 months. It's just what it is. So make sure you go through the house, take a look at what you have, donate to those who might be a little less fortunate. You have toys that were almost never used. There's places out there you can go for kids that won't get as much as us. So we'll be looking at that and reducing our load of toys by probably half before we get to Christmas. So that's going to be a big one for a lot of people, and the adults as well. I receive a lot of wine. I receive a lot of. If you look at this shelf here, that's like alcohol shelf. I have where am I? Here. I have some over here too. I receive a lot at the time of clients and whatever that are getting me stuff. That's clutter. I have a way to organize it. So there's a lot of new things coming in. That's gonna create that cluttered life. And if you don't keep up on that, you're gonna lose it. And in January, you're gonna be 2 weeks in. You're gonna go, why is my floor a complete disaster? Why have all these gifts piled in the corner and I don't even have a space for them? Have a plan for everything that's gonna be coming your way because it will impact you. This over here and here. So we talk about, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. But we obviously have the reselling business that I started. So what I had to do, it got so cluttered in the office that I actually had to go purchase shelving units and build up shelving units into these closets here. So I had everything taken away and put out, and these things are full. I wonder if I can pop up a picture at some point, but these things are like, I have a lot of stuff. We started with the $200. There is a lot of stuff here. So that's kind of fun. It kind of died for a little bit with the whole USA situation because can no longer sell to the US through eBay. So that kind of hindered. But now, as of this month, they reopened international shipping and stuff. I opened up a Poshmark account. So we're going to start selling through there. But things have been selling through Facebook. I move a few items minimum on a weekly basis. I don't put that much time into it. It always gives us a little extra cash here and there to be able to indulge in some of, kids, you go to a store, kids want a $5 toy, $10 toy, whatever it is. I can use this to to supply that without hurting the budget.
What's funny about the budget too is that when I first started it, I would always tell people like, "Oh no, I can't this week. I'm broke." My favorite line was, "I'm broke," and I actually just said it today too. I'm like, I love acting like I'm broke because it works. So, so I was telling my friends like, they were like, "Oh, let's go for matcha on our lunch break." I'm like, "Ah, yeah, matcha, can't, guys. It's blowing the budget here, you know."
I'm broke.
And they're like,
I'm
"Are
broke.
you serious? Like a $4 matcha is gonna like?" I'm like, "A $4 matcha is a $4 matcha. I can't do it." I'm like, "I'm already over, you know." And they're like, "What are you talking about? Like that? You're so crazy." Same friend that called me crazy the other day, she goes, "You know, you need to really start saving for a home. Life is getting crazy, you know." All these, and I'm like, "Girl, what do you think I've been doing? Why do you think I say no to matcha when I can?" You know?
Gonna give you a little. I love this example. It's like it's so outrageous, but for us, yo, you buy one matcha a month. We call this opportunity cost. Okay, we call this opportunity cost. So you do one matcha a month less, just one matcha a month, a few dollars every month. Like what's $2 a month less in the S&P 500 reinvested? Just that $2 reinvested over time in 30 years. That $2, every $2 you spend is $3,000 at the end of the line. Every time you drink a matcha, you just took $3,000 out of your retirement fund. Now it's stupid to think of it that way, but
It works.
it's factual. It's
Yeah.
factual. If you invest, $4 a month for 12 months, it's like $40 a year. Invest that over 30 years, that's $1,440. Compound interest that based off the S&P 500 at like 10%, it's like $2,500, $2,600. Call it 3,000 for a lot of money.
And this is why I make my coffee every morning to bring to
It's a lot
work.
of money. We started doing that a long time ago too. In the budget, I think we'll have a lot to talk about when we get back to that episode, but we tend to like that one. We tend to like the budget. Career check-in. There's a good one. There's a good one. Career check-in. Without saying too much, move in silence.
Yeah.
Career check-in, build a path, not a job. Career goals, 20s, 40s, overcoming imposter syndrome. I just literally had imposter syndrome and self-doubt. It was a great example, so I won't say it again.
Very good.
Networking tips, how to change over time, pivoting careers, upskilling to stay relevant. This is like, you talked about building your LinkedIn. That's kind of like your networking.
You want to laugh? Actually, coming back to imposter syndrome, I actually have a story which is really funny.
Go. I love that.
So I was in a phase where I'm like, if I want to become successful, I need to act successful as if I'm already there, right? So I need to move in ways that successful people move in order to get there. So one day I was in the OR with one of the doctors, and me and this one girl, Christina, we always get mixed up at work, especially in the OR, because we're wearing a cap, we're wearing a mask. Like you can't really see us except for like our eyes and like maybe our height and like our body build, you know. So the doctor that was working at the time, he kept calling me Christina, Christina, Christina. So I sat there and I'm like, listen, I'm talking to myself now. I can either keep letting him call me Christina and he'll never know my name, or I can correct him and he'll know my name, and also I'll be more respected. I'll respect myself more and he'll respect me more because I move the way a successful person would move. So, we're coming to the end of the case. I'm like getting closer so I can like remove some of the things off my machinery. And he says Christina again. So I get up and I'm like, sorry, Doctor so and so. Do you keep calling me Christina? And he stands up and he's all like shook and he looks at me and goes, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, oh, no worries. I'm like, my name is Elena. He goes, Elena, of course I know your name. I'm so sorry. I kept calling you Christina. I'm like, it's okay. We get it all the time, like Christina and I, we always get our names flipped. I'm like, like just letting you know. He goes, oh, is that so? Okay, well, thank you. A few days later, I see him again in the OR. He gives me the biggest props ever, and he goes, "What's up, Elena? You good?" And then
That's
uh,
awesome.
also I'm leaving the OR. He's talking to another doctor, and he like passed me on the back, and he goes, "Good job today, Elena." So now he'll never forget my name, and I'm really happy that I did the smallest little thing and I corrected him.
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
I love that. That's so good.
I was super
It's
happy.
the whole getting my name wrong thing is like a big thing. It's like the longer you let it go on, the more you're trapped in not being able to say something.
Hmm.
Funny. I like that.
Yeah. So I was kind of in that phase of like, what would a successful person do, and like all these things. And I've been kind of thinking that more and more. And the longer I wait in that room, waiting for them to call on me, so I can take some X-rays, like while they're doing surgery or whatever. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, oh, I'm in a room full of very intelligent individuals that do things that change people's lives. And sure, I'm a part of it, but I really want to get into it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I've been thinking more and more and more and more about it. And I think now I'm finally ready. I think now I'm telling myself, no, I am capable. I'm competent enough. I'm intelligent enough. I can go into something greater than what I'm doing. And so that kind of goes back into that I was scared before, but I don't think I'm scared anymore. I think what I'm scared of is staying in the same exact position that I've been in. So I'm ready for change. I'm like super excited to like start something new. I'm like over it. I'm done. I'm ready.
Funny how that like you just put two different afraids up against each other. What am I more
Mhm.
afraid of? Am I more afraid of succeeding or moving on or putting myself out there potentially to be rejected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times? Or am I more afraid to be a lifer? Am I more
Right.
afraid to look back in 20 years and be like, I am still at the exact same spot? And not one is not worse than the other, right? And I'm not saying being a lifer is a bad thing. It might be a
Mm-mm.
bad thing for you. Again, which one of those two scenarios makes you more afraid? If being the lifer makes you less afraid, well then be the lifer, be the best lifer you can be and upscale yourself as a lifer without having to
Right.
ever put yourself out there and whatever. But putting the two
And it
different
even
fears up against
reminds
each
me
other.
of a conversation I had at work. A lot of these things happen at work because this is where I go in and things open up for me. Like, do I see myself, like, and you see a lot of examples. You see people younger than you see people older than you see people like, I've been here too long. You see like a lot of different examples, people at the same exact pace as you. So you see kind of like the different stages of life. And, like, is this really meant for me? Can I try something new? I can always come back to this. It's not a bad gig. It's just I want to do something more for now. So I had this conversation one week, and I was working with some colleagues, and they laugh at me because I tend to. So when I have conversations with my boyfriend, we always, I always tell him like sometimes I get really really stressed about budgets. And how are we going to afford this and that and this and that, like all at once. And I tell my colleagues about it, the ones I'm close with, and I tell them, I'm like, oh, I was freaking out because, oh my God, things are so expensive and like we need to make more money. And I just keep like stressing that on him that we need to be making more money, like, all these things. And one colleague in particular, he laughs at me and he's like, you are just too much. Like you're fine, dude. Like if I'm older than you and I'm making this and you're the, comparing. And someone popped up and said, "No, she's not too much. She has dreams and she has like a vision." And I'm like, "Yes, thank you. Thank you for understanding me." And he goes, "Okay, well, I guess we should all be like you." I turned around, I said, "No, you shouldn't be more like me. You should be exactly who you are, because if we're all like me, we're never going to get anywhere. So you need to stay exactly the way you're thinking right now."
That transitions into the next one really, really good, and it's the value of mentorship, which was the very next, the very, very next episode was exactly what you just did to that person. And I remember that this was maybe one of the episodes where you had a little bit less of the experience in, and here we are 6 or 7 months later. You're already showing traits of being a mentor or a mentee type person, which is really good. So like learning and teaching and all of that stuff. So I mean, if we look at the value of mentorship in the forms of the today's subject, which is the holidays being the final boss. I mean, obviously for me, it's we're going to be spending a lot more time with our people amongst our peers and all of that. Why not make this a great time to have good conversation and to maybe help them on a potential growth journey that they don't even know they've begun yet? So that would be, I think, my little one for mentorship. People are going to struggle at this time. There's a lot of people that are going to have different experiences than we're going to have in the holiday time. A lot of people struggle, um, potentially whatever, and don't realize. So maybe it's a good time for you to lift the wing and take someone along on the journey that you guys have started, that we've started. Um, yeah, it's important. It's important to also help and teach, and then of course vice versa. Maybe it's time to find somebody to learn from. Maybe it's time to level up who you've been learning from for the last year. Find the next one. Find the next thing. Find the next mentor. Let the mentor you have now introduce you to the mentor, the next one. Elena decide
Hmm.
to tell the doctor what her real name was, and she may have found a mentor and doesn't even know it. That person. It starts with jokes. It starts with conversation, and all of a sudden you're exchanging life stories, and all of a sudden it's like, here's my experience, and blah 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 blah. You never know where that next mentor is going to come. So that's kind of like I think in the final boss. I don't know if you have anything to add on that one.
Um, no, because a mentor to me, well, you kind of touched base on it. Regardless if it was for a now and like I'm moving on, like they were always still a mentor, like, and I'll still look at them as a mentor. Like the last person that I was working with, I think he's the one that kind of pushed me into where I'm at right now, which was a good growth opportunity. Um, and I think he also kind of molded like the way I'm thinking now, as in like there is more to this. I can do more. So maybe it is a little bit of his voice in the back of my head, like, no, do it. Like you're young now, like go for it. What's the worst that can happen? So um there's that. And yeah, maybe hopefully from learning and from doing all of these new things and all these cool things, I someone can turn around and start asking me for advice, and I can give them the advice that they need to hear. Um, am I a lifer? I don't know. I could give them advice. You know,
There you go.
maybe I could pose them that question.
You're
I
there
think
now.
that's a good one.
You're
Yep.
there now. Yeah, love that. I'm going to skip the next episode because the next
Okay.
episode is probably what I'm going to consider and what you would consider the finishing move of the final boss. And
Okay.
we'll come back to it. The next episode is going to be the one that we're going to have the most to say on. Has to do with dollars. After that, we kind of went into a few. So let's huddle a few together here. I think we can kind of. We talked about building self belief in episode 9. Episode 10, we talked about side hustles and passion projects. I'm not sure that one is kind of relevant in this time of year, unless your passion project is to sell Christmas cookies. Well, then get to work, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's your side hustle, it's there. We can check in on the side hustle in a second, but let's put building self belief up against our fitness goals episode, which we talked about like nutrition and stuff on number 11. So building self belief, fitness goals, and then also let's couple that together a little bit with our friends for a season episode,
Mm.
which I think is another big one before we hit the final finishing move of this big ugly boss at the end of the year. Big beautiful boss too, though. It's a great time of year. Um, Friends for a season, building self belief, and all of that. I think kind of go a little bit together, along with your nutrition and building yourself up. Um, Believing in yourself, understanding that your choices are probably the right one, your gut instinct is probably the right one. Um, Nutrition. I mean, you're a big nutrition person. I'll let you take that one. I mean, how is nutrition going to get affected this month? Gee, I wonder.
Uh, so, like you said, going back to the indulging, right? Especially in our household. Like I take our household as a pretty good example because I mean, you've seen it. How many desserts do we have? Like how many desserts does one not one, like let's say what are we, four families that come together? How many desserts do you think we're gonna have? Four? No, we have like 17. I don't know how, but we always end up
Minimum.
having it's the craziest thing. You've never seen a spread like this. We have so much food, and then the dessert comes, and you're like, guys, like this is never ending dessert. I don't understand. Like, who do you think is coming to this event? It's the same people every
Yeah,
year. Like, I
it's
don't
the
know.
same 12 people. Why do we have 17 platters of dessert only?
I I never understand it.
But
But
how lucky are
so
we too, right? Like how lucky are we?
yes,
How
yes,
lucky are we?
definitely
But saying
we
no
are.
to that platter, oh my lord.
I mean, I'll still have a piece of like
No, we're gonna have a
one
piece. We're gonna indulge. It's
piece of
gonna happen.
everything. So yeah, it's
Moderation is
gonna
the key.
happen.
Have a little of each, not a lot of
Yeah.
each. You have a little, so I can have a lot. Thank you. Um, so I mean, I think it's written pretty much. The writing's on the wall for that one. I mean, if you're on a journey of eating healthy, it's
Mhm.
a test. It's a test and a half. Probably it's good that this is like the second to last thing we're talking about ish, because it's right up there with some of the things that are going to be the hardest. Stay true to your diet. Uber count your calories if that's what you're doing. If you're a macros person, make sure that even if you've gotten used to counting your calories, you don't put them into the app anymore. Maybe go back and pull the app out and really go to town in December and make sure that everything you're eating goes in there. So seeing that number go up might be enough to keep the modesty in when it comes to your food and stuff. So make sure that your goals are set for the month. Hey, I'm okay with 6,000 extra calories for the entire month of December, and track it. I don't know what the number is, but track that. Be sure that you have your tools and everything in place. Productivity is good, organization is good. All of that stuff comes into play with this one. Um, but be extra vigilant if that is what you want to track. If you don't want to track that much and you just want to indulge a little bit, be moderate. Be modest about it. Um, because it's a big one. It'll catch you off guard real quick. I was just looking at the calendar quick, and there's weekends where Saturday morning we're gonna have like a buffet brunch, God knows what. Saturday night we're going to late lunch, early supper, which usually
Mhm.
those things turn into just mega meals to begin with. Those are killers because like, okay, we're gonna have a brunch. Sure. What are we gonna serve for brunch? Well, I don't know, pancakes, eggs, syrup, and might as well throw in hot dogs and hamburgers. I don't know, but it's just like there's just a ridiculous amount of food in a very quick amount of time. So it's and then you do it all over again for your lupper, your late lunch slash supper. So it's challenging, and everybody's gonna want to meet for food because this is the time where we break bread with our people, with our families. I think this year we're doing a big family get together again. I think yeah, it's been a little bit more lacking in the last few years, and I think this year it seems like we want to go back to, we're doing like the white elephant gift and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going
Which I'm
back
excited
to, yeah, it's going to
for.
be fun, right? So we're going to go back to the main event, which means usually that means we're extra preparing food because despite it being the same amount of people, the event needs to be bigger because we're bringing it back in a big way. So let's just make that 18th tray of dessert, which I'll indulge. Um, Friends for a season. It rolls right into it. Friends for a season, and we talked about this, and I think we both had some very concrete examples of that, which I'm not going to rehash. If you want to rewatch that episode, I encourage you to go watch it. It's not called Friends for a Season. I should maybe have this stuff up. What do you think? Huh? Let me see one second. 2040. I'm gonna go over in a second. I'll go over all of the episode actual titles. So
It's not called that? I'm pretty sure it is called
it's
that.
not called. I don't think that. I think I called it something like "Why You're Making Less Friends and Why That's Okay." Something along those lines.
Oh, no,
2040 vision
why you lose friends
and
and
why
why
that's
that
probably
might be a
okay.
good
Yeah,
thing.
something like that. 2040
Yeah.
vision podcast.
Which is funny because at the end I really want to talk about my Spotify Wrapped.
I wish my Spotify rap was mine, but unfortunately it's my children's basically. Although let's be honest, a big K-pop Demon Hunter fan. Um okay, here we go. Okay, I have those ones up. I'll tell you this one right now. It was called, oh, it's actually the last episode we've recorded.
Yeah.
Why You're Losing Friends and Why That Might
And
Be a
why?
Good Thing.
Yeah.
So we started like changing up. So at first we were like episode 1, Welcome to Growth Journey. Episode 2, Power of Routine. So if you guys want to go back and see these episodes, the links are going to be down below and everywhere and all of the popular stuff. There's 12 episodes for you guys to indulge in. They're almost all about an hour a piece, if not a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more. This one's going to be close to an hour and a half. We have another hour and a half episode 1. So it's a good listen. You got a good 15 to 20 hours of material to go through already. Episode 4, The Power of Mindset. Episode 5, The Art of Organization. Episode 6, Career Check-in, the work behind the work. So here we started kind of like indulging a little bit in the SEO and the and the clickbaiting a little bit. Episode 7, Mentorship, the glow up you didn't know you needed. Episode 8, Money, the elephant in the room. So that's when, and that's going to be the final boss we're going to talk about in a second. Will be the money episode. Episode 9, Side Hustles and Passion Projects, turning ideas into income. We glossed over that because I don't think it really has anything to do with this one, but we can talk about it a bit. Episode 10, Self Belief, the Confidence Code. Episode 11, Food for Thought, Nutrition and Growth. And then episode 12 we went over, it was Why You're Losing Friends and why that might be a good thing. So that brings us to that episode actually. So if you want to go back and listen to both of our stories, I think it's healthy to just not rehash the stories. So you can go back and listen to them. But in this setting of final boss, evolution of friendship, quality versus quantity, handling conflict, and setting boundaries, outgrowing friendships and making new connections, how friendships change when major life milestones differ, in the concept of the final boss. How is this episode going to be challenged in the month of December?
Um,
Have you have you had somebody who you've released the cuffs on try and cuff you? No. Have you had have you had, an old friend reach out at this time of the year?
um,
Yet.
not
Do you think it might
really.
happen?
No,
No.
I don't. Think, no, I don't think. I think everyone who's in my life right now is it. I don't think there's gonna be people coming back. I'll be really surprised if they do, because I'd be like, oh, I thought everybody's moved on. But but no, for real, I think I think I'm good. Like I think we're all on the same page. Like you know, we are who I I am. I'm with who I have in my circle, and I don't think there's going to be more additions this year.
Love that.
Applications go back up in January 1st, 2026.
Apply now. Limited VIP position. Fuzzy cuffs, pink, preferred. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and say that for me, I think some of the doors that are closed, those wounds are quite fresh still, and I think there will be some reaching out, and so that's something that I'm going to have to face and deal with. And some of these people we used to purchase, Christmas gifts for each other's children's and things like that, right? So this will be the first Christmas without doing that. So it will be a challenge to overcome. I think I've handled everything as well as I could have possibly handled it for the year. I think things are in a very good spot. But I do think that for myself, some of the decisions that I took over the year, which is very, very hard, I think they'll resurface and they'll challenge. So I think this time of year brings out a little bit of the love, a little bit of the regret, a little bit of the desire to connect. It's like it's this time where family and relationship is very at the forefront of people's minds, and
Mhm.
evaluating what's important for you, so that what might happen is that you've evaluated it and it's not important for you, but that person might have evaluated it and it's very important for them, so they're going to try and reach out and either make amends or blame you for all of their problems, and we'll see which road that takes. But I think that a lot of people are going to somehow see this kind of thing, especially if the change is more recent. This time of year kind of brings out that, like, that regret of love, if you will, or that regret of friendship that never has or never was or didn't come to fruition, or things like that. So I think it's a time of year, arguments with family that are now, we're coming to a time where a lot of families spend time together. So, some family members that might not have gotten along or whatever might be thinking about that and going, maybe it's time to reach out. So, be prepared for that. Maybe it's time for you to reach back out to somebody and go, okay, maybe we need to rehab a conversation. Maybe it's time to see where we sit. Um, yeah, I think a lot of people are going to run into that type of scenario, and and we'll see where that goes for those of you. Just remember, again, the decisions you made are the decisions you made. Evaluate where you're at now. Evaluate your values. Evaluate your priorities, and let that be the guiding light to how those interactions are going to take place. Um, is there anything before we move on to, like, the big final hairy boss, which will be the money one? Is there anything you wanted to come back on the income, the side hustle thing?
Um, Not really. Only because I'm realizing that before I start my side hustle, I want to get my prime hustle um at another level.
Registered trademark of the 2040 Vision podcast. I don't know what the fuck a prime hustle is, but I'm in, and that's ours. Nobody take it. I like that. I like that. Um, I talked about the Pepper Patch Find. I also began consulting as a consultant for businesses. Um, I am not going to. I do have another plan, which has to do with what we're going to talk about next. If anybody is struggling financially, reach out. I have plans to help people at no cost. I think it's something I want to do to, like, kind of do the give back thing. Obviously, there could be, monetary incentives on the other end, but I did start consulting in businesses, and it kind of makes me feel like it really, that really hits the nail on the head for me. Like, helping someone get to where they want to be in their business when they don't know how to get there.
Mhm.
Um, Looking at someone's business and being like, here's all the things we can do to lean your operation down, make it as profitable as possible, automate a lot of things, give you more time and freedom to be doing the things you want to be doing in your business. Are you working in your business or are you working on your business? That's two very, very different things. And I am very good at looking at something and being, okay, you're doing too much working in your business. Let's lean, let's automate, and let's work on your business. So I very on the low because it is a part time. I truly still my career, and I still want to move into a position in my career where I'm doing this for people at my company and I'm helping them in their day to day, call it their little mini business, help them, lean their operation and be a little bit more um a little bit more productive on a daily basis with their tasks and all that. That really hits the nail on the head for me. And then obviously, a lot of people made fun of me when it comes to the budget thing, but a lot of people are coming out of the woodwork and they're being like, "Hey, so when you do this thing, what are you doing? Or when you do that thing, what are you doing?" And hey, all the things you guys spoke about, we're doing that now. Um, when I mentioned to people at the beginning that I do a budget meeting, some people came out and said, "You can't treat your house like it's a business."
But it is in a sense.
100% a business. And now I have people coming going, by the way, we love our monthly our monthly budget meeting. So I'm like, you are doing the budget meeting. I knew it. It's fun. Um, so yeah, so I do have plans on a side hustle front to begin helping those. If anybody wants help on when it comes to budgeting, I am not a investment person. I'm not selling you investments. I have no idea how to invest your money. I do not understand the stock market to save my. I mean, I understand the principles of it, but I don't understand. Or I don't know enough to tell you where to invest your money. I can refer you to somebody who does that for us as a family and has done very very well even through these struggling times. And I put 100% faith into him. We could do that, but looking at your money in, your money out, how to organize yourself, how to use tools to look at your family things, and then we can just segue into the money episode, which will be the last episode we talk about. And the name of that episode was "Money: The Elephant in the Room" because it tends to be something people don't like talking about. If you're struggling with that, reach out. I will find a way to take 20, 30, whatever minutes it will take to have a Teams chat with you, a video conversation, go for a coffee, and help you out in any way that I can at absolutely no cost. So that's out there. Um, Money. I'll let you take it off with your budget. You're big on budget for this year. You weren't a budget person at all. I wasn't either until it's now been a year and a half, and I'll talk about some of our successes, but I'm sure you have some successes and then how you think that's going to be affected or potentially how people need to be looking at this time of year when it comes to budget and money.
Um, so I actually went back and I looked at the numbers. I didn't go based off of, oh, I think I did. I went back to the facts. So I went into last year's, how much I was putting away, how much I was taking out, even though I've been putting away. And it actually came back to pretty much almost zero that I've put aside last year versus this year. I've set a goal. I said, no, I'm going to put away 40% of my earnings. And I can proudly say I have never dipped, not once, into whatever I've been putting away in,
The
which
nest
I'm,
egg.
yes. So there's that. So that's already one success for myself. Did I reach the 40%? No, but I'm close, which I'm also very, very, very proud of. Next year I will continue into the same kind of pattern that I'm going into because it's working for me. whatever I've decided to do, what I was doing last year wasn't working for me, whereas this year I'm finding that it's working a lot better. Um, in terms of money management. The only thing now for me is that I want to make more earnings. Of course, everybody does, but I really think that I have a plan set out that it could work, and if it does work, then you might be getting that house faster than I thought.
I love
So
that for you.
I'm really excited to kind of go more into it in the next year. Um, I also remember I started with the no shopping 2025,
Mm-hmm.
where I would have kept shopping at a minimum, and I did. I A lot of the times I would even go shopping and look around and tell myself, is it the fact that there's nothing in store that I want to buy, or is it the fact that I already own everything that is here and maybe I don't need it? And maybe that's also a good thing, you know? And I was recycling a lot of my things. And um I've spent a lot less on, fast fashion, things that aren't timeless. So I started shopping for items that are timeless and not for, oh, it's super in style right now, let me buy it, even though it's like $1 million. But, so I'm really proud of myself that I was able to dial it back a little bit and really get my goals running. I started like it's starting to roll, it's starting to get somewhere. So I'm really happy.
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm very, very proud of you because it's not easy because we did it in November. It's not easy. I understand how hard it is. How hard it is to say no to people, how hard it is to pretend. Although now it's fun for you, right? But at the beginning, it's hard to say I'm broke every week for 10 weeks until somebody finally gets it registered in their head that you're not going to spend the money. It's not easy having people judge you like, oh, you don't want to spend your money. What are you like some broke ass? Like keeping up with the Joneses is a very real thing, especially in a mecca like Montreal. I'm very proud of you that you put away 40% of income or almost there and didn't dip into it. Um, that's all really difficult things to do. And it's really impressive that somebody at your age is already doing that and that you understand that and that you're going into buying a house. Want to buy a house. Do you think buying a house, and this is like, again, I'm not an investment expert or anything like that, but I've done a lot of reading. Curious at your age, and I think this will be relevant for a lot of people. Do you think buying a house is an investment or do you think it's a lifestyle choice? I think you muted yourself.
I don't know why I went
You're
straight to
back.
no audio.
There you go.
Yeah, my bad. So no, I think it's an investment. I think, and I'll tell you why. I've seen a lot of different videos that say, like, I've seen, oh, renting is a really good idea, and then I've seen owning, yeah, property is an investment, or like things like
No,
that. But
no,
for
yeah, we're
me,
not talking about income properties. I'm not talking about income. But do you think buying a single family dwelling, you and George go on and have little babies, do you think buying a house to live in solely for the family, is that an investment or is that a lifestyle choice?
I believe it's an investment
And why?
because eventually, even if, let's say, we end up selling the home, it's grown in value. potentially, right? Because there are market crashes and things like that. But
True
the
for
idea,
true for investments.
yeah,
Any
but
investment, like if we take a look at the house versus putting it in the stock market can crash.
right. But for me, it's because how I view it is that the house will go up in value. So even if I decide to sell it in the end, that's money in my pocket. That could go into something else, or even like I bought this house, like mortgage is paid, whatever. I could then eventually even pass it down to like kid children, things like that. So I think in that sense, it's an investment.
Interesting. I listen to a lot of American podcasts because, again, I think one of the cool things about us is that we're a Canadian podcast because there's not a lot of us. There's some, but I came across a notion that was American, and I went and I found, and while you were going through that, trying to find who it was. I can't remember who I saw this off of, but I did the math with them alongside them. So the challenge of calling a single family dwelling that you're going to live in an investment is, you're right. At the end of the day, you'll have money. If it's grown in value, you'll have, the word is equity, right? You'll have equity in the house. The problem is when they look at it and crunch the numbers, and again, do this for yourselves. I just want to spark a thought in people's heads. I'm a renter, mainly because I messed around for the first 40 years of my life. Okay, fine. For the portion of 18 to 40, because before 18, it wasn't really my fault. So mortgages are, let's say, 30 years long by the time you own your house. Obviously, accelerating your payments and all that will help this situation. If you can afford to make an extra payment, an extra 2 payments every year, you can usually pay off a 25 or 30-year mortgage, in a 10 to 15-year time frame. And what that'll do for you will be reduce a heavy load of interest that you're going to pay. So the issue with the value of the house is that in owning a home every year, you have to pay for your full insurance. You have to pay your property taxes. You have to pay upkeep and maintenance to the tune of anywhere between 2 to 10% annual to upkeep and maintain your home for any kind of repairs and all of that. You also pay interest on the actual home itself, and then you also want to hope that the home gains a little bit of value so that you're stretching your equity a little bit. But let's say at the end of it all, the money that you've put into your house, you might, at the end of all that being said, you might like 1 or 2 times your money in a house. So in a sense, it's an investment, but is it a good investment? It is not. Most people, especially in our day and age, and even if you look back at the numbers, and these numbers came from like buying a house in the 70s when they were $180,000, like my parents, and the house now is worth $800,000. Well, they bought it in the 90s, right? So 30 years later, it's now paid off. That $180,000 house is worth $650,000. That is, we look at it and we go, oh my God, they made $500,000 in 30 years on their house. But did they really? How much interest did they pay in that meantime? That $180,000 house probably actually ended up costing them closer to $340,000 once it's all said and done, maybe even $400,000 once it's all said and done when it comes to just the interest. I think of how many times has the backyard been redone. We used to have a massive in-ground pool that got buried. They put in a hot tub, they took it out. There's a few $1,000 shed in the back. There's lawn that's been redone 3 4 times since the time we've been there, because we lived there for a very long time. The floors have been redone, the whole house, kitchen changed, gutted, bathroom redone, front yard and walkway redone to the tune of 20, 25, $30,000. And you start to put all that money together and you start to realize, as far as an investment goes, had you put the same amount of money, just the mortgage payment and the money down that you have to put, because don't forget, you also got to present 20% or 10% or 15% of the value of the home up front in cold hard cash. Had you put that into the stock market and rolled that investment, you would have, don't quote me on the number, but I think the number was 22x your money in the same amount of time. So the house you would have bought, your 1.5 to 2 times your money in a 30-year period, you would have 20 times that same money had you rented and put all of that extra. The key is to put the money you would have put into the house as actual investment in the stock market, which has a 100-year track record of giving you about a 10% annual return. You would have like 17 to 22 times your money. And that one really slapped me in the face. Of course, we're not talking about purchasing real estate as income properties. We're not talking about purchasing real estate to flip. We're talking about the sole scenario of, should I buy a house? And do I call that an investment, or am I actually buying a house for a lifestyle? And lifestyle is okay. And it's almost like you're looking at the house as a forced savings more than an investment. So you're putting all that money in, and at the end, you're likely going to be able to get it all back out. So you kind of net even over that time. But when you go to retire, I'll give you the example. My parents currently, whatever their retirement nest egg was, if they consider that house, rather than putting the money in the investment, they go, oh no, we're going to put our money into the house. Well, they still got to live in the house. So the money doesn't really exist until that house is sold. And then you got to live somewhere. So you can't really retire on the house money. So it's an exercise that people should do a lot earlier and understand, what does it mean to own a house, and what do I also have to put aside to be able to retire for my future investment. I'm going to give it to my kids. That's phenomenal. Who's paying your retirement if you give your entire nest egg away to your children, if that's your only investment? So be sure that when you're purchasing the home, you're looking at the full plan. I've done a lot of listening in the last 8 months, folks. I can tell you that much. I've done a lot of podcasting financially. I listen to a financial podcast, Canadian Finance Podcast, daily. So it's just these things that I find it interesting, because I would have said the same thing at your age. I would have said the same thing a year ago. Oh my God, buying a house. A year ago, my wife and I, one of our ultimate goals was we want to be homeowners because we think it's a great investment to have for the future. And today we look at it and we go, it probably makes no sense to purchase a home anymore for us. We're likely going to be renters forever unless we come into much, much more money. Our earning potential becomes much, much greater. We could put aside a lot faster, and we can still pay for a home and save for our retirement. We didn't save early on for our retirement, so we have to accelerate our rate of retirement, which means I have to put more money to be able to retire at the age I want to retire. So all of this has to come into play. So the earlier you start doing it, the better you're going to be. You're setting yourself up beautifully for that. But also important to, when you're looking at the home and all of that, there's all those expenses and everything that comes along with it, to understand that it's likely more of a lifestyle choice than it is security of, not having to move, your landlord doesn't kick you out, all of
Right.
these things.
But that's also why I'm like looking into my like, that's why I said I'm not looking into a side hustle right now. I'm looking into my prime hustle, like making sure that that's solidified, that's still growing, so that I can eventually get to that lifestyle that I want.
You could be a millionaire in your 30s. And that's breaking a generational gap.
Yeah.
A generational, not gap. Generational, I don't want to say curse.
Cycle.
Cycle, thank you. That's breaking a generational cycle. You
Hmm.
could be a millionaire in your 30s and then teach your children how to become the millionaire in their 30s. And you've now reframed your entire family tree, starting with you, because you're understanding this way, way sooner than a lot of people. And the next generation coming up are going to understand it even sooner than us.
Well, that's kind of what I tell people is that if I don't get to reach what I envision of my life, I want to be able to set my kids up so that they can reach that
Mm-hmm.
if
That's
that's
our
what they
goal.
want to
That's
reach,
our goal.
Yeah.
That's our goal, to set our kids up. I wanted to, just because it is the year in review, I want to talk about this a little bit, and it goes, did a lot of talking. 1 year ago, December of 2024 is when we started our budgeting. So I'm a year into being a budget.
I started technically in April, so a little less than a year, but getting there.
Us doing the budget is kind of what started us having a conversation about doing this thing. This is kind of like what rolled into, you were kind of doing, your hustle, your prime hustle, and then that's what started off this whole, how we ended up doing a podcast. If I look back a year ago today, and you went through your successes, we had 2,000, and I'll speak as a couple. I'm not going to say who owed money to what. It does not matter. We look at everything as one whole now. What hers and mine doesn't exist. It's a family unit. We had, in December of last year, $1,150 in student loans. We had $3,000 in car debt left to pay on a vehicle that we had. We had $3,800 sitting on a MasterCard, revolving. We always held a balance. We had $3,290 sitting on a Visa card, again revolving. We always had that balance. So imagine the interest paid on that for years. We had $18,687 in personal loans, and we had $19,490 in line of credits with balance. For a sum total of almost $50,000 in consumer debt, with a little bit of a car debt. So a year ago today, in December, we were $50,000 in debt. We now, as of today, the only thing out of all of that we have left, we just paid off the end of the personal loan, of the $18,687 personal loan. Since December of last year, we have never carried a balance on a credit card. They're at zero. We paid off the car. We paid off the student loan. The only thing we now have left after a year is $18,000 line of credit, which will be paid off in less than 8 months.
That's amazing. That's more than half
That's
of it gone.
in a year and 8 months, we will have paid off $50,000
That's amazing.
in consumer debt. In that time, we've created a budget that allows us, like last year, we started saving for the school this year. This year's school was completely paid for in cash because we had the money sitting there, because we budgeted for 12 months. We did the exercise again, and we realized now we're living even tighter than we've ever lived, because we're currently paying for daycare for Evan. And because he's starting school next year, we're also saving for his school so that we can just pay it off in cash next year. So now we're doing everything in double. We're saving all of our money ahead of time so that when it comes time for that expense to come about, we have the money sitting there. So we paid off over $41,000. We paid off over $31,000 worth of consumer debt. We've saved several thousand. We also invest for our kids' education to the tune of $420 every single month, and we've never missed a single month. And in the meantime, we've also sold that other car, and we have leased a vehicle, which is all electric, which replaced our gas bill, which has been going phenomenally. It can be done. And my final boss connection with what I just said is, if you're going to go into a whole bunch of consumer debt to buy gifts, don't. Say no. Say this year is going to be the year where we're going to do less, so that next year is the year where you can do twice as much and not have to go into debt for it. We did not buy ourselves a Christmas gift to each other last year. We're not buying ourselves a Christmas gift to each other this year, because we're going to pay off what we owe before we continue. In the meantime, we continue to invest. We do all of that stuff. And all that was due to building a budget and staying true to your budget. At the beginning of the month, we looked at it, how much do we want to spend? And we probably weren't as diligent about it this December as we were last December. But we look at the beginning of the month and we go, how much are we spending on Christmas gifts? How many people can we actually afford to go and have dinner with? Do we really want to see those people? Do we cook something at home? Do we really want to see those people? We're going to their house. How much is that going to cost us? We got to bring a gift. We got to bring a whatever, a housewarming, something, whatever, something. You put all that at the beginning of the month, you know exactly how much you're going to spend. And if you don't have enough, say no. It's okay to say no. The big one and the biggest one is the amount of consumer debt people end up with in the month of January because of all the choices they're about to make this month. We had Black Friday that just passed. We have Boxing Day coming up. And those are buy for me days because, hey, it's on sale. Hey, it's 50% off. Do you really need it? Have you saved for it? Can you afford it? How long are you going to carry that debt for? Because that thing you bought at 50% off might end up costing you 150% more once you're done paying off all that interest on the credit card, if you ever pay it off. I carried a balance on a credit card. My wife didn't. She never carried a balance on a credit card. I carried a balance on a credit card for the last 20 years of my life. I can only imagine how much money I've wasted on interest. Countless amounts of dollars. I'd be a millionaire today if I understood any of this at her age. But that's the big, hairy final boss. Say no, and it's so hard. If you wanted to buy your kids 10 gifts, figure out a way to make it look like you buy them 10, but buy them 4. Maybe buy 4 bigger ones that cost you 70% less than buying 10. They'll be happy. We take advantage of the blessing we have of having a massive family. If I buy my kids 5, they're going to get 35 from other people. So they'll be overwhelmed either way. Use that leverage, use family, use everything you have in your favor to turn yourself around today. Because I, a year ago, would have said we're drowning and we're probably not going to make it. $50,000 in debt. We got 2 kids. We're putting through private school. We want them to go to university. We want them to do all the things that they want to be able to do. And we made that decision last year. We're not buying that many gifts. We bought 2 gifts each, I think, because we knew the family was going to help. We're going to be like, why are we going to overindulge and buy more? Why are we going to buy each other gifts when we owe $48,000? Why am I buying you a $300 bracelet? Why are you buying me a $300 video game? Whatever it is. Why are we doing that? And at the end of the day, if you consider it one pot, we're just really buying it for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the future, we're going to do things where it's going to be more experience related. A family fun day instead of buying each other gifts. We're doing it this year.
A family vacation.
And then one day it'll be a family vacation. You know what I mean? And we've been on that grind, and hopefully I can get a promotion in the near future, and that brings in more income, which changes the budget. My wife has been, doing her thing, and hopefully there's some good things that are going to happen in the near future that potentially will bring in another nice, huge amount of more income. we're all on our growth journey, and it's all gonna be okay. But if you can't make more money today, spend less money today. And this month is the month. If you get through this month and you do it and you say no and you stick to a budget, it'll be a walk in the park for the next 11 until you get to December again next year. And what I'll now encourage you to do as well is take a look at how much money am I going to spend this December? Understand that that's going to be your exact same budget, if not more, for inflation next December, and start saving now. Start putting the money away for December. You're going to spend $1,000. You're going to spend $2,000 on Christmas for your kids, and I want you to. It's phenomenal. Christmas for yourselves. You want to go on vacation, $5,000. Go. Important. But $5,000 at the end of the year, when you're already carrying credit card debt and you have personal debts on other things, and you haven't put away a cent in investments, and you're going to put that on your credit card just to go, is not the way to go about it. A few $100s to put aside a month to have the money at the end of the year and to pay it off and go, it's going to feel like so much more of a vacation. And that's going to be my sign off on that. I think I've spoken enough on the subject.
Mhm.
If you need help with it, reach out. I'll be happy to help, because I think it's super, super, super important. And I can't explain to you the amount of stress that is gone and non-existent. I don't worry anymore. I don't. Somebody throwing a new expense in my face doesn't faze me. Laugh. Fun. Oh my God, that's amazing. Because I saved for that. Oh my God, that's amazing. I have my emergency fund for this situation, and I'm going to put it right back in when I'm done. I think it's really cool. I don't know if you have anything to add. Please tell me you have something to add on that. I think I spoke for the last 30 minutes.
No, but I don't have anything to add. But I have been thinking about all those things, putting aside for this, putting aside for that. I have a wedding coming up in July in Mexico. So I did your numbers game. Okay, how much is the vacation and how much do I have to put aside per month so that by the time it rolls around, I'm paying the full amount, but I've already saved up from this point to that point with like an actual number, an actual budgeting system, and like ready to go. So, little things, but it's being used,
Good. That's amazing. That is amazing. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was a 2-hour episode.
That's crazy.
And a
That's our
year.
longest episode.
That's the longest episode, and I think it makes sense. It's the year wrap up. It's the final boss. It's everything we've kind of spoken about in the previous 12 episodes, and we do have 12 episodes for you to go listen to.
Yeah.
If this is the first time you're listening to us, I encourage you to go through and listen to our little stories. Start from the beginning and follow the journey with us. I think it's kind of cool. Like we said for ourselves, we listen back to it and we retrospect. Oh my God, like all the things I said in episode 1 and episode 2 and where that has led me to today.
And also, I just wanted to add the one little quick thing on my Spotify Wrapped.
Oh yeah.
When it came time for podcasts that I've listened to, of course, ours was like my number one podcast that we listened to, because I listened to every single episode from start to finish, and it told me that I was top 11% of people listening to this podcast, which is crazy because it's my own podcast and I'm top 11%. But all
That's
that
really
to
cool.
say, thank you for everybody who's listening.
Isn't that cool?
That is very cool. I didn't realize that there were like people that listen to it, thinking that I listen to every single podcast from start to finish, and I'm still the 11%.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed. This podcast is not in my podcasts, but I listen to podcasts like daily, multiple podcasts daily, especially like my drives in and my drives back, which are hours long. 11%. That's really cool.
I thought so too. I was like, really? That's
It's really cool.
amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening. We appreciate all the feedback that you guys have been giving us. We really do have a good time doing these things. Um, hopefully in post, this 2 hour episode sounds good and everything is all okay. I think this setup is way easier for us to be able to pump out some more content for you guys. I think in the upcoming year, this will be 13 episodes in. We probably have a few other episodes that we'd like to tickle a little bit. We kind of just hit like our 23rd episode that we had planned was looking back on the journey, lessons from this journey from the year. So we kind of just did that now. We might go through a few, but maybe we start having some guests on, especially now that this format works, where this is tested. Maybe we start having some guests on the podcast. Obviously, the financial thing is big for a lot of people. It was probably our most popular subject to date. So if there's anybody you guys want to have on, mortgage experts, banking experts, financial experts, we can have people on talking about money in a Canadian flair and what they think the market is going to be like in the future, upcoming, how to invest, what to do, and all that good fun. Let us know if you like this format. Let us know if you have any other tips, tricks, concerns, comments, anything. Let us know if you need our help. We'll be happy to help or put you in touch with somebody who probably can help better than we can. Thank you so much for the year. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. We'll catch you guys again in 2026.
2026.
It's going to be bigger. It's going to be better.
Yep.
And bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.
See ya.